A shy girl scheduled a private surgery, but when she met her young millionaire doctor, she wanted to disappear, until he smiled. Sophie Lane tightened her grip on the strap of her oversized canvas bag as the elevator doors slid open. Her fingers were cold inside her coat, her breath shallow as she stepped into the muted hallway of the private women's clinic. Everything here was sleek, quiet, expensive. Nothing like the cracked linoleum floors of the diner where she worked, or the second-hand couch she slept on each night. Her shoes squeaked against the polished tiles. The sound made her flinch. At 26, Sophie looked older than she was. Pale blonde hair pulled into a loose ponytail, shadows beneath her eyes from too many double shifts and sleepless nights. Her face was delicate, almost pretty, but worn in a way that spoke more of worry than age. She wore loose layers, grays and faded blues, the kind of clothes that helped her disappear. She didn't belong in a place like this, and she knew it. The nurse at the front desk looked up with a practiced smile. "Good morning. Name?" "Sophie Lane," she whispered. "Yes, you're scheduled for pre-op consultation. Dr. Vale will be with you shortly. You can wait in room 3. Sophie hesitated. I asked for a female doctor." "I'm sorry, but all our female physicians are in surgery today. Dr. Vale is available, and I promise, you'll be in excellent hands." Numb. Sophie nodded and walked toward the labeled door. Room 3 was pristine. A white desk, soft lighting, 2 chairs, a medical poster she avoided looking at. Sophie sat slowly, knees together, hands damp in her lap. She could still leave, just walk out, cancel everything. Her heart pounded. It was just a consultation. No one would touch her. But even being here felt like being stripped open. Weeks ago, she had scheduled the surgery, an invasive procedure to remove a benign but aggressive uterine tumor. There was no other option. Her uterus would be removed. The words sat in her chest like stone. She had told no one. Not her coworkers. Not the few acquaintances she had left. She had moved cities to escape the man who once looked her in the eye and said, "If you can't have kids, what's even the point?" She had never answered, because deep down she didn't know. The door opened. Sophie froze. The doctor entered. He was tall, his movements calm and unhurried. Dark chestnut hair, clean-shaven jaw, striking features. But it was his eyes that made her chest tighten, kind, clear, intelligent. His name tag read, Dr. Adrian Vale. "Mississippi Lane," he greeted, his voice smooth, professional. He didn't extend his hand, only gave a soft nod and a respectful smile. "I'm Dr. Vale. Thank you for coming in today." Heat rushed to Sophie's ears. She couldn't speak. Her eyes dropped to the floor. She wished for anything, a curtain, a fire alarm, the ability to disappear. He was everything she had stopped believing in. Composed. Successful. Calm. He had never worked 3 jobs. He had never bled through an apron during a shift. He had never had to explain why his body betrayed him before 30. And now he was here, looking at her with eyes that saw too much. She stood abruptly. I can reschedule. "I should go," she whispered, reaching for her bag. But Adrian stepped forward, steady, calm. "You don't have to talk if you don't want to," he said softly. "I won't ask anything you're not ready to answer. But I want you to know, just by being here, you've already done something brave. You deserve to be listened to, whenever you feel ready." His voice didn't press, it offered. Sophie stared at the floor. Something cracked. Not loudly, just a tremble in her shoulders, a flood behind her eyes. She sat back down, her bag forgotten, beside her. And for the first time in years, she cried, not hiding, not apologizing. Adrian said nothing. He simply sat, not with pity, not with judgment, just presence. And for the first time in a very long time, Sophie did not feel invisible. Story continues with her notebook reflection, the pre-op moment, Adrian offering quiet support, and Sophie realizing she is not as alone as she believed. It was quieter than she expected. No relief, no rush of emotion, just stillness. The kind of stillness that comes after a storm, not because it has passed, but because it has stripped everything bare. A part of her was gone. Not just physically, but something unspoken, like a door inside her that would never open again. Sophie lay there until the 4 beeped its signal, until the nurse returned with her clothes folded in a plastic bag and instructions she barely heard. Her limbs moved automatically. She dressed slowly, fingers trembling, hospital gown replaced by her old sweater and jeans, a version of herself that wasn't new, just lighter, emptier. By the time she walked out of the recovery ward, the halls were thinning. Daylight was fading through tall windows. The air was still. Most of the staff had ended their shifts. Sophie stepped into the main lobby, expecting silence. But there, sitting near the reception desk with a clipboard in his lap, was Dr. Vale. His coat was off, sleeves rolled up, pen in hand. He looked up as she entered. Sophie stopped mid-step, caught off guard, embarrassed. "You didn't have to wait," she whispered. Adrian stood, slipping the pen into his pocket. "I didn't have to," he agreed gently. "But I thought you might not want to walk out alone." She hesitated. "I can call a cab." "You could," he said, "but I'm already parked out front." His voice carried no pressure, no insistence. Just a quiet offer. Sophie gave a small nod. Outside, the sky had gone lavender. His car, a modest black sedan, waited by the curb. She climbed into the passenger seat without a word. The silence that followed wasn't uncomfortable. It was soft, companionable. Adrian drove carefully, hands steady on the wheel. Sophie's eyes flicked toward him once, then again. Not to study him, but to wonder. His hands were clean, his nails neatly trimmed. Hands that didn't fidget, didn't flaunt, but carried quiet purpose. Capable, gentle. Why? She thought. Why would someone like him, calm, successful, composed, care enough to sit in a hospital lobby and wait for her? The question lodged itself in her chest. When they reached